First, personal relationship with God. In Psalm 23, when David declares, "The Lord is my shepherd," he is not just describing a role, but a deep relationship between God and humans. A shepherd is not only concerned with protecting the flock from danger, but also with showing love, care, and walking alongside them every step of the way. God, as the Good Shepherd, is not merely an observer of our lives from a distance. He is actively involved in every detail, protecting, guiding, and caring for us with unconditional love. When David calls God his shepherd, it means that his life, as well as ours, is not solely determined by us, but is under the protection of an omnipotent being who knows our every need, desire, and pain. God understands better than anyone what we need, and he will provide everything that is best for us, at the right time, in the right way, and according to his infinite wisdom. This brings a profound comfort, for we do not face our struggles alone. God is always present, not just as a protector, but also as a guide, helping us overcome every challenge, restoring our strength when we feel weary and anxious. This relationship reflects closeness and absolute trust, a love that we can always rely on in every. When facing life's challenges, God is always a source of comfort and guidance, leading us to places of abundance and peace. The imagery of green pastures and still waters in this passage of the Bible symbolizes the peace and endless provision that God offers us. The green pastures represent the place where we find nourishment, where God provides everything we need to grow and live a fulfilled life. The still waters are not only a symbol of refreshment, but also of tranquility, helping our souls find restoration after stress and fatigue. Life can sometimes become overwhelming and exhausting, and we may feel lost amidst worries and difficulties. However, God is not distant. He is always by our side, guiding us to places of peace and restoration. He knows exactly what we need and will provide us with good things at the right time and in the right way. He nourishes not only our bodies but also cares for and heals our souls. When we feel exhausted and directionless, God is always ready to reach out his hand to support us and lead us to places of peace. He brings not just temporary peace, but also helps us restore from within, renewing our soul and spirit. With God, we not only find material provision, but are also deeply nurtured spiritually, helping us stand strong and overcome all challenges. When facing difficulties in life, moments when darkness seems to engulf us and the future appears uncertain, God is always a steady source of encouragement. The phrase, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," is not only an image of physical death, but also a metaphor for the challenging, difficult times we face in life. These could be times of loss, insecurity, or periods of suffering that each person must confront in their journey through life. However, what stands out in this statement is the firm belief that during these dark times, we are never alone. God is always by our side, guiding us step by step, protecting and supporting us when we are weak. His rod and staff are symbols of protection and guidance, much like a shepherd who protects the flock from dangers and leads them to safe places. Even though life may present challenges, we can trust that God will never abandon us. Difficult times are not the end, but opportunities for God to reveal his presence and power in our lives. He will always guide us through every trial, helping us find the strength to rise up and continue walking. Therefore, even in the darkness, we can still feel the light of God leading the way. The image of God preparing a table before our enemies is a powerful affirmation of the protection and abundant blessings he provides for us. It is not just about supplying us with what we need, but also the glory he bestows upon us, even when we face difficulties or challenges in life. When speaking of preparing a table before my enemies, it is not only about protection, but also a public blessing from God, helping us overcome temptations and opposition. While the enemy may be threatening, we are still protected by God and granted joy, peace, and blessings. This is a beautiful image of the safety and joy that God brings, even when challenges are present around us. When facing enemies or hostility, instead of being afraid, we are invited to partake in the feast of peace and grace that God provides. The image of "He anoints my head with oil" is a symbol of sanctification, healing, and blessing. Oil signifies special selection, protection, and the healing that God offers us. When my cup overflows, it symbolizes a life that is not only full but abundant in love, peace, and joy that God provides. This abundance is not just material, but also a peace in the soul, a prosperity that far exceeds anything we can imagine. Even in the midst of challenges, God's protection is never absent. He not only protects us from danger, but also grants us prosperity, joy, and peace. These blessings are not just protection, but also a clear sign of God's continued. God promises us that His goodness and mercy will follow us all the days of our lives, and we will dwell in His house forever. This is not only a promise of protection, but also a commitment to God's eternal presence in our lives. His goodness is not something random or fleeting, but a continuous reality, walking with us in every circumstance. God's mercy is not a temporary emotion, but a profound care, always present and never abandoning us. He is the one who watches over us and protects us, whether we are facing difficulties or when life is passing by peacefully. We need not fear as we walk through life, knowing that God's goodness and mercy will always follow us, protecting and uplifting us. This promise brings great comfort as it reminds us that God's love is limitless and our connection with Him is eternal. He walks with us not only in difficult times, but also in moments of peace, when we fully enjoy the tranquility and blessings He bestows upon us. We can be at peace, for His protection and care are unchanging, whether in times of joy or trial. Finally, the promise that we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever is not only a hope for the future, but an affirmation of our eternal relationship with God. It is a place with no sorrow, no worry, only absolute peace and endless love. These are not just dreams, but a reality we can trust in as we journey through life. The prayer in this passage of Scripture is not only a plea, but also an expression of deep gratitude for God's protection, healing, and guidance in life. The person praying calls on God as the Good Shepherd, who not only sees and knows, but also directly cares for, protects, and leads us through every trial. God never abandons us. He is always present to support us in times of weariness, discouragement, and when we feel weak and lost. The prayer reflects absolute trust in God's care, as the person praying finds peace and renewal in His love. They call on God to help them regain strength, heal their broken hearts, and refresh their souls. This is not only a request for themselves, but also a prayer for their family and loved ones, asking God to bring peace, love, and joy to all. When facing life's challenges, the person praying asks God to keep them humble and vigilant, not allowing them to fall into the traps of self-sufficiency or pride, but always acknowledging their need for God every day, not only in times of difficulty, but also when life is going smoothly. The prayer also expresses concern for those who are struggling, asking God to come near and heal them, bringing hope and restoration to them. Finally, the person praying affirms their faith in God's promise that He will always lead them to places of peace, prosperity, and boundless love. This prayer is not only a reliance on God's power, but also a trust in His love and His infinitely important